And here we go.
Here we go indeed. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad ESL, we have the American Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Astrea.
And spawning in the bottom right, the blue Protoss representing Canada, representing Team Super, it is TriGGeR.
And both players go for the high ground wall.
Yeah, so probably something, a little bit more on the aggressive side coming out from both players. Usually how you would expect to see such a short map played out. Basically, I think this map also is like pretty nice with proxies with that big open area at the front of the natural, so it would be a disaster to try to like defend all of that with a one gate low ground wall, so nothing too shocking here.
Yeah, no one has the cojones to try and play like Max Packs, mate.
True.
Oh god. So yeah, pretty standard here from our two Protoss players. You know, we're gonna play Chase's favorite game, which is what two units are gonna come out of these gateways.
Gonna say no one has the cojones to go for the forge, man. I want to see a cannon rush.
You're crazy, Papi. You're crazy.
So seeing pylons in the main, that's okay. I forgot where to put them. That's fine.
Shaking my head. The pylons are, mate. They're pretending they're European, mate. Oh my god.
I guess TriGGeR saw what happened when he put the pylon out on the map, and he doesn't want any of that clown fiesta. Not against the king of the clowns himself.
He won, though. He won.
True. We do see a double Stalker against Stalker Sentry.
Yeah.
Does kind of signify a bit more of a passive macro style coming out from Astrea.
Yeah, he's a lot more concerned with scouting than he is with being aggressive. Meanwhile, the opposite can be said for TriGGeR. With these two Stalkers, he can shut down any kind of adepts that were coming across the map. If there were any adepts, he will have the Stalker lead as well. As we do have that sentry coming out here. We should be seeing a hallucinate soon. Soon, TM. Oh my god.
Wow, okay. I guess that's how that works.
Wow.
We also saw a very early Twilight Council coming out from TriGGeR, already finished, so Blink on the way very early. Definitely looking for a bit of 3-gate pressure here. But
the probe scout comes in. It somehow avoided the Stalkers, and he sees the 3 gates. He sees the early Twilight Council.
That's an insane move from Astrea to abuse that brush to know exactly when to go in for this scout. And manages to, just with the investment of one probe, see everything he needs to see. And with the Robo already finished as well, he should be in a pretty good position to defend this.
Exactly. Astrea, he knows what he needs. He needs shield batteries, he needs immortals right now, and oh my god, like, he is poised to defend this. TriGGeR has a lot to overcome because of that early scout. You can't, like, he's committed at this point. It's really difficult to transition from here. He's even getting a 4th gateway out on the map as well, so he's even that much more all in.
Yeah, I mean, taking out this pylon's really nice, and he's going to take out the battery as well, definitely setting himself up for success and sniping the sentry.
Very nice moves here by TriGGeR. Oh, can he try and get another one of these sentries? In the end, the Immortal is going to force all this back for the time being, but more Stalkers are on the way. Yeah,
still trying to get that battery set up on the low ground as well. I do really like this pylon position that Astrea's got further up in the main, so it does look like he should be able to power that even if he loses the pylon as well.
Yeah, so power coming from the high ground and the low ground both. Meanwhile, we do see the Stalkers trying. They do get one Stalker in the end. Oh, Blink just barely not done.
Yeah, beautiful force fields, just catching out those units right before Blink finishes. And all the time that he can buy for himself here is so important.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But now Blink is done, so TriGGeR is going to have that much more opportunity to try and micro his heart out. There we go. He does get a couple of shots off. Shield battery is done, though, so Astrea is going to be able to keep everything up and running for the time being. Oh, but that proxy gateway is now up.
Yeah, very nice micro saving that one Stalker, but with that 4th gate finishing, with Warp Gate finishing, we are just going to see TriGGeR looking for a critical mass of Stalkers where he can start one-shotting things through that battery.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, I love this. Astrea even halukes one of those immortals as well to try and soak up some of that damage. And what's interesting is that TriGGeR is expanding behind this.
Yeah, very curious. Going for 4-gate off one base straight into the expand. So maybe recognizing that this might not work out, he's just going to put on as much pressure as he can, show the 4-gate as well, and try to transition behind it.
We'll see how this works out for him. Meanwhile, he does trigger both of those shields of those immortals, but with the War Prism, Astrea, he can micro to his heart's content. His immortals basically have blink. Now he has 3 immortals as well. I think we all know, even TriGGeR knows that he cannot break this.
Yeah, with the 3rd immortal coming out, he is starting to mine now. So if he can recognize that TriGGeR has stopped committing to this pressure, with these 3 immortals, he could probably even start to put on a bit of pressure himself across the map. And nice catch here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so many Stalkers going down.
Yeah, half the Stalkers go down. The other half are forced to commit into the main base, but there's no real way out. They're going to try and blink on that, and they will, but I'm afraid to look at the units tab, but 10 Stalkers have gone down this game.
Yeah, that's really rough for TriGGeR. He really was depending on keeping all those Stalkers alive so that he could tech behind it and use the pressure to keep himself safe. But with all these Stalkers gone, he is in a bit of trouble back home now if Astrea chooses to push across.
Yeah, and I feel like soon he's going to want to push across. Right now, again, the Blink Stalkers are keeping him busy, but he's working on his own Blink. He has his own War Prism. He can recall if he ever needs to. Just trying to chase down as much of these Stalkers as possible.
Yeah, TriGGeR just trying to buy as much time as he can here, knowing that he has very little back at home. He's going to try to make the army run this way and that way, but Astrea splits off what he needs to defend at home, and yeah, I think TriGGeR's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, what is at home to defend? We have 2 sentries and 2 adepts. We have an overcharge. We can recall if need be. TriGGeR, he's on his way back home. Force fields are going to buy a little bit of time.
Yeah, but already offensive warpins coming in from this side, sectioning off these Stalkers, but nice catch there for TriGGeR. But he'll lose 3 Stalkers for his trouble.
Yeah, again, he's losing these Stalkers that he couldn't really afford to lose earlier, especially because of that immortal deficit. He does kind of reconvene with the rest of his army, though. Again, he does have a decent amount of firepower, does still have that blink, but in a couple of seconds, so will Astrea.
And I mean, on this side, we're having a look at the energy on the Nexus. He doesn't actually have enough energy for the battery overcharge, so if Astrea chooses to commit to this push, it's going to be very difficult to hold TriGGeR.
Exactly, and as all this is happening, TriGGeR is losing workers left and right. Oh, he will get one of those immortals. Yo, he can get the second.
Yeah, taking out those 2 immortals, kind of reaping the benefits of taking out that prism earlier on, and he is actually going to hold here. Wow.
Yeah, TriGGeR, he breaks free from the contain, but he has to be careful not to oh my god, he's overextending. He's going to lose his own immortal.
Yeah, big overextension here, and we are seeing the prism coming through for Astrea as well to add to those reinforcements, but this game really is in the balance. Pretty impressive defense from TriGGeR so far.
Yeah, making the most out of a bad situation here. Despite losing so many Stalkers earlier, he was still able to hold on. Again, as you were saying, it was very important that he was able to get a snipe on that War Prism earlier. He's even working on his 3rd base, but he gets a little bit outpositioned.
Yeah, nice job from Astrea there, and he will just take those extra Stalkers for his trouble as well. And if he can just snipe off some workers here, snipe off some pylons, and then recall, that's going to be really annoying for TriGGeR.
Yeah, exactly. He gets all the way into the main base, forces some lost mine time. He can rotate down towards the 3rd, and he can maybe even try and force a cancel at that 3rd.
Yeah, beautiful rotation with his own 3rd already starting to mine. This is going to be a considerable lead.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, we do have a warping of Stalkers here at the natural base as well of TriGGeR. Meanwhile, Astrea, interestingly enough, actually doesn't commit to try and powering down that 3rd. I feel like he probably could have forced a cancel, to be honest. It took a while for TriGGeR's army to rotate around, but Astrea, he doesn't risk it.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way, but just trying to make sure that he keeps all his units, avoiding a situation where TriGGeR can achieve that same base trade that we saw. Sorry, not base trade, counterattack that we saw from Astrea. Just solidifying the small lead that he's made for himself.
Yeah, he'd rather play this out a little bit safer instead of taking that risk. Just shutting down that pylon in the middle of the map. You know, he's got his own 3rd behind this. He still has the worker lead, so he's still feeling pretty comfortable, all things considered. It wasn't necessary for him to cancel that 3rd. But because TriGGeR got it up and running, you know, he is still in this.
Yeah, he's still in this, but Astrea at the same time researching charge, getting 3 or 4 more gateways, cutting the extra worker production as well now that it's fully saturated on his third. We could see a very big charge lot attack coming in, and those charge lots will shred the Immortals.
Yeah, it feels almost kind of like the previous series, TriGGeR versus Nina, game 1, where Nina was just one step behind, and Astrea feels one step ahead of TriGGeR here when it comes to that tech. The one thing that TriGGeR has going for him is that he is slightly ahead with his own +1, I guess, but mate, soon we're even going to have disruptors.
Yeah, and we're seeing Astrea take a 4th as well, just getting ahead on all fronts, so taking what was a very small lead and just stretching it out in all different directions.
Yeah, exactly, and TriGGeR has to come back in some way. There are options here for Protoss. He opts not to go for a Dark Shrine. I respect that. I feel like Dark Shrine is a little bit too risky, and you do have plenty of observers already. Instead, he's going for his own disruptors.
A nice option here just to deal with that push, just to keep himself really safe at the third, but Astrea's also done such a good job here of denying any scouting from leaving the base of TriGGeR. All these hallucinations, all these observers. Astrea's just been sharking back and forth with a smaller army, but just picking off everything that he can here.
Yeah, as you were saying, another observer goes down. You know, TriGGeR is just stuck in the dark, stuck at home. He has no idea what his opponent is currently doing right now. He is working on his own 4th base, and Astrea hasn't seen this. He hasn't been able to rotate around there, so Astrea isn't going to be able to punish this 4th. But he doesn't need to, because again, he is still far ahead in that tech.
Yeah, disruptors of his own coming through as well. He is getting that +1 soon, so as he warps in 8 Zealots, he might be looking for a bit of a charge lot timing here.
Yeah, and he could definitely hit it. That's a lot of Zealots. Oh my god. It's a lot of charge lots here for Astrea. He can definitely try and dive on this army. Has to wait a little bit to actually reconvene with the rest of his disruptors as they are coming up, but now 3 of them will join up with that army.
Yeah, he scouts the 4th. He's got his warp prism speed starting up as well, so we'll be able to maneuver these quite nicely. Good warp in the main here.
Oh yeah, it does warp into the main. It's going to force TriGGeR to respond. Meanwhile, here we go. The disruptors coming in. Is TriGGeR looking? Oh god!
Oh, and big disruptor shots there. He does get the blink, but the follow-up disruptor shot takes out so many stalkers, and GG is called.
GG. Astrea with that timing, with charge and with disruptors, just shuts down any hope of TriGGeR in game 1. And he takes a nice 1-0 lead.
Yeah, beautiful game coming out from Astrea. It just really felt like he was a step ahead the whole time after he dealt with that 4-gate blink pressure. And I think that one little catch of those 5 stalkers after that blink pressure, catching that overextension from TriGGeR, really spiraled the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, it really did. It really did. Oh, so great scouting there by Astrea. These nice little tricks of the trade here that I'm sure a lot of people, I'm sure TriGGeR himself, will take note of and will try and pick up in future games. But yeah, a nice lead, but you know, still a relatively small lead because this isn't a best of 3. You know, we still got at least 2 more games ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely not a discouraging game, I don't think, for TriGGeR, because he was fairly behind from the opening and he still managed to hang in there, but you really did see a lot of the class of Astrea in some of those moves, like denying the scouting from ever leaving the base of TriGGeR. So yeah, very interesting series coming ahead.
Yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic that we saw between these 2 players. And I do think that, like, just because of how the openers played out, it was kind of visually skewed in favor of Astrea, where I don't think we were able to really see TriGGeR thrive the way that we usually do. So I don't, as you were saying, I don't think that game was too indicative of TriGGeR's overall skill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had him trapped in his base for the whole game, so there's not too much you can show in that situation. I mean, potentially he could have snuck something out around the sides to get a bit of harassment, but Astrea was doing a really good job of just being really threatening and out on the map constantly, so TriGGeR had no idea what was coming next.
Exactly. Oof. And with that, we are now going to be getting ready for our second game. It looks like our players are asking for a small break, a small bathroom break. So of course, the players come first, and then we are more than willing to comply. And we also found out that it wasn't just the Take TV casters that went to bed. The admins went to bed as well. Aye.
All right, it's a lawless state here. We can riot.
Oh my god. Interesting turn of events here.
Yeah, NA, they'll just be like, sort it out yourself, boys. NA rules. All the EU rules are off the table.
Yeah, they're like, look, a Protoss is gonna qualify, whatever, right? You guys.
I don't want to see this. You sort it out between yourselves.
Just tell us the results when we wake up. We'll be fine. Oh god. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out in the end. I'm really curious, but oh my god, 94% of the people who bet in the predictions believe in Astrea, mate. 94%. Oh my god.
Savage, no TriGGeR believers. You're on your own, buddy.
I believe, Poppy. I believe. Again, mate. Again. Look, it's PvP, all right? It's PvP. We've seen TriGGeR even proxy against Nina in their series. Mate, he can do something crazy. He can. I believe he can bring it back. He can bring it back.
True. He's definitely not short of options. He does have those spicy tricks up his sleeve with the proxy robos, something like that. Could even see something crazy like proxy DT shrine coming out. Ooh. So yeah, I'm guessing they got a good feel for each other in that opening game, and we might see the the cuffs come off in this one and see what he's got in store for this.
Exactly.
What?
We shall see. As again, we're just kind of waiting for our players to to finish on up here. Oh, sorry, to finish up their bathroom break, I should say. But I guess this is a good opportunity for me to remind everyone that if you guys want some more StarCraft action, not just HomeStory Cup action, this is not the last broadcast of the day. In a number of hours, in around 7-ish hours, we're going to be live again. With Sparkling Tuna Cup.
The tuna be sparkling.
Exactly. We'll see. I'm gonna shortly find out if it was a mistake to cast the North American qualifiers.
You're not gonna be feeling it until you're gonna be halfway through like a 30-minute TVT between Bjorn and
Keen.
Yeah, it'll be Beyond and Keen. There'll be 35 minutes into a game on Hardwire. You're like, Poppy, no.
End it, Poppy, end it. Oh, no.
We're going to be like, Beyond's going to ape it up, and then he's going to play like the 6 Vikings into Ravens, play full late game, sensor towers everywhere.
Oh, no.
We're going to be like, we heard, Poppy, we heard. You want a big TVT. We know.
Someone called Asher messaged me and
he said, mate, don't leave your base. It's not safe tonight.
He said, I'll donate 50 USD to the Matcherino if you drag it out.
Oh, no. Alright. Meanwhile, we're spawning into the next game here on Hardwire, so enjoying a 1-0 lead leading into the rest of the series. This is Alpha X's Astrea.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hardwire ESL, we have the Canadian Protoss player himself representing Team Super. It is TriGGeR. The high ground wall.
Yeah, nothing too crazy just yet. Definitely, probably neither player wanting to take too big of a risk either on this map. It's quite a big map, definitely. It's a more comfortable map for a drawn-out macro game. So, yeah, we should be able to see really what these two players have got for each other.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We'll see how they play out on a Terran map, if you will.
What? How did you get that from what I said?
I heard you loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear.
My goodness.
Aye. As so far everything is standard, as you were saying, you know, no stray workers out on the map to throw down any crazy proxy pylons. Not yet, not for the time being. We did see that in game 1, TriGGeR was the aggressor, going for his own like fast pilot cancel into 4 gate blink stalkers. But after he was humbled in game 1, I imagine he's gonna calm down in game 2.
All right, we're gonna play the chase game. You guess for TriGGeR, I'm guessing for Astrea.
All right, go.
I think
Double it.
I was gonna say double adept for Astrea as well. So we're gonna go double adept. No, we're fools. We could never make it in the world of PvP live.
We were half right. It was double something.
True. The 2 gateways made 2 things. I was right on that count.
2 things of the same thing, though. Of the same thing, you know?
True.
Yeah.
We didn't see the Stalker Adept. Lunara Stalker Adept.
Didn't see the Stalker Sentry, you know? Yeah.
Nah.
But Stalker for both players, and they are going to spot each other here with these pylons, with these gateways. But behind this, once again, Astrea being a little bit more aggressive here with the double adept.
Yeah, double adept. I told you, man. I didn't say when. I just said double adept.
True. Oh my god. And behind this, Astrea goes for a Stargate.
Yeah, pretty interesting opening here. So, as far as I know, usually you go double adept into the Stargate, so maybe a bit of mind games here, showing the 2 stalkers, and he will just trade 1 stalker for 1 stalker, sees the 3rd stalker of TriGGeR, so it's a good amount of information for him. And TriGGeR just going for the same blink opening as last time, already getting the 3rd gate as well.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, TriGGeR's trying to set up a proxy pilot, but wow, this gets scouted by the adepts of Astrea. Wasn't intentional at all. He was actually trying to avoid the stalkers of TriGGeR, but a nice scout for Astrea nonetheless.
Yeah, pretty interesting. They're both kind of scouting each other, so Astrea loses the surprise potential of the 2 adepts coming in at the same time as the Oracle, but he does also spot this proxy pylon, which I think potentially was meant to be a robo for a 3-gate robo, but I guess he's already got blink. I don't know. Maybe he was going to go 4-gate again.
Yeah, it looks as if he wanted to go 4-gate again. It's like, if at first you don't succeed, try again, I guess. But he was slowed down. The worker was forced back or was even killed. The Oracle dips in. We do have the Stasis Trap response, but he does pull away.
Yeah, catches 3 probes. Not bad damage at all. And I'm presuming, yeah, he definitely won't want to be rebuilding these probes. This 4-gate blink build pretty tight on the resources.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the adepts across the map, I believe we have a full wall. We do have a full wall in the end, so Astrea cannot find a way in, and TriGGeR is just warping in across the map as best as he can. Doesn't have a gateway here yet, so it's still only 3 gates. Sorry, no, 4. Yeah, it is 4. Oh my god. It is 4
yeah,
gates.
So he scouts out the 4 gates. He knows exactly what's going on, and just these little adept and oracle moves, they're just going to put the pressure on TriGGeR where he really has to get damage here, but he is getting damage so far.
Yeah, bearing in mind that because of the Stargate opener, there is no robo available for Astrea. The overcharge is being popped, but the overcharge, it's vulnerable. He has enough to just power through the damage anyway.
Yeah, the Stalkers go down, the Zealot goes down, and he's on the mineral line here, and this is a really tough situation for Astrea. He's getting a little bit of counter damage on the other side, or a lot of counter damage on the other side. 16 probes going down.
Oh my god, the entire mineral line eviscerated here for TriGGeR. Meanwhile, the Void Ray comes out, but the Void Ray is going to be focused down anyway. It looks like TriGGeR just has too much sustained damage here. Oracles did great, but again, they run out of energy. Stalkers do not.
Yeah, TriGGeR wedging himself into an angle where he can't be probe walked, and that's enough to take the game. Nice response there. Goes for the 4-gate once again and gets the win.
Chi. Oh my god. What's interesting is that, again, that was his plan even without scouting the adepts. Like, even before he scouted the adepts. He's like, let's go. So, yeah, very nicely handled here. Unfortunately, Astrea was just being a little bit too fancy with his own tech path, with his own build order. Did leave him vulnerable in the end, to delay his own immortals, delayed his own gateway production. And TriGGeR ties it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Very aggressive from TriGGeR coming out, and pretty good match planning for the whole series. Probably recognizing that Astrea might go for something like that on the bigger map where he feels a bit safer. And coming into the rest of this series, TriGGeR does have a bit of a mind game that he can play now, where if he shows those 4 stalkers again, Astrea might be forced to be a bit more defensive, having to respect it a bit more now.
Exactly. Or do you think Astrea's like, all right, he's not going to do that 3 games in a row, right? And the TriGGeR just does it anyway because this map was not vetoed. We're on Blackburn.
True. I mean, Blackburn with the ramp as well.
True.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see maybe some 1-gate play coming out from these players this time. Maybe some like 1-gate Phoenix, something like that.
Ooh. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. It wouldn't be too bad. The more likely thing here is that both players are going to go for those low ground walls. But because it's Blackburn, you know, mate, anything could happen.
True. Another bloody Terran map. The close spawns. You know, no place for anyone but a Terran, but we'll make do.
Oh, I didn't even have to call it out this time. You just, you know.
I know, I've been told too many times.
Oh god, but here we are spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Blackburn ESL. We are here in the final qualifying match. We're tied up. Who can take a lead in this series? Spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the American Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Astrea.
Game paused.
Oh. And TriGGeR does not want to be introduced. He's like, stay away from me, Poppy.
Oh my god, I lagged for you, TriGGeR. I lagged. What are you doing?
TriGGeR is in fact experiencing a little bit of alg. And Astrea, yep, same question as me. What's alg?
Oh my god. Is he trolling? To be fair, I thought he was saying all good. Sorry, 1 sec, but I mean, it was probably lag. Yeah. Wait,
the spelling of the word gal, amazing.
Game resumed.
All right, and bit of a hiccup start to this game, but having brought it back to 1-1 with the second 4-gate in a row, it is Super's TriGGeR.
Oh wait. I pressed the wrong button. I was thrown off because of the gal, okay?
It's okay, I got it.
Oh god. But yeah, here we are. We're on Blackburn here. Not one of the more standard maps. I love it. TriGGeR keeping his probe hidden, safe and sound. Oh, is it going for their openers?
Yeah, hiding the probe, and it looks like maybe a very fast Nexus coming out from TriGGeR, but he is blocked in the end.
Yeah, it was a cheeky move, but Astrea was wise to it in the end. TriGGeR has to be a little bit inefficient here. Was banking up a lot of resources for that Nexus, forced to throw down the Cybercore.
Yeah, I mean, pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen like a Nexus before core in PvP. Be kind of interested to see how that plays out, but yeah, it's flexible enough to throw down the core when he's blocked, so that's good for him. And looks like we are going to see, the 1-gate expanse coming out from both players, with Astrea already getting his Nexus down.
Oh, unfortunately, TriGGeR wasn't able to stop this. He wasn't able to throw down the pylon, so a nice little lead here by Astrea. Likewise, though, TriGGeR also throws down his own Nexus, so both these players, a little bit rusty when it comes to throwing down those pylons, those blocks.
Yeah, we're just going to see a bit of an honorable macro game coming out now, and I would expect to probably see Stargates coming out from both players, but TriGGeR has shown that he does favor these more aggressive blink styles, so yeah, I guess anything really could be coming out from him at this stage.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I imagine both of these scouting probes are eventually going to be taken down here by the Stalkers, or at least Astrea does confirm that an additional gateway was thrown down here for TriGGeR, so he's well aware of that at least.
Yeah, and Astrea not quite selecting his tech just yet. Maybe waiting to clear out this probe before he does so.
Yeah, as interesting. Astrea throws down a hidden gateway, so we have a 3-gate here from Astrea. TriGGeR back at home, going for the Twilight Council.
Yeah, so it looks like the same blink kind of style coming out from TriGGeR, a little bit less aggressive than last time. And Astrea maybe looking for a 4-gate of his own.
Yeah, exactly. The additional gateways do signify that he wants to be the aggressor here. There is going to be no tech. There isn't going to be a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, TriGGeR with a proxy pylon. Does he want to go DTs?
Proxies on proxies on proxies. Let's go.
What is the plan here? Oh my god, TriGGeR is moving out. He wasn't able to see that proxy pylon yet. Still in the dark, and there's the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, nice. And we do see the Twilight coming out from Astrea as well, so possibly looking for a bit of a 3-gate blink attack on his side. But these DTs are going to be a real pain. Astrea's going to have to be really quick seeing those to get the wall down.
Yeah, exactly, but does TriGGeR recognize what's happening in time? Here we go, the 4 Stalkers do reveal themselves. 1 Stalker of TriGGeR already going down. He needs some shield batteries in his natural base sooner rather than later, but it looks like TriGGeR, okay, with his reinforcements, he's able to force this back.
Yeah, nice micro coming out from both players, ending up with an even trade. We do see Blink coming in from both players, so yeah, I guess pretty even so far, but this DT tech could be a big advantage for TriGGeR.
I mean, there's no robo. There's literally no form of detection right now. Like, it could just straight up end the game.
Yeah, absolutely. If he doesn't have a Forge or a Robo down quite soon, he does put a pylon out the front, so he will get a bit of forewarning of anything coming in, but he's not going to be able to see it on the minimap. He's going to actually have to check it himself to be able to get that wall down in time. So, pretty tough situation here.
Exactly. Meanwhile, would you see Astrea? He's gonna get in with these adepts. He's gonna force TriGGeR to pull apart some of his supply. Doesn't end up coming to the engagement, to the shade. Third gets thrown down by TriGGeR. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know if this third's just a fake out, but it is all these stalkers, this third, it is really going to throw off the scent of these DTs, I think.
Oh, the DTs are waddling on in, and we see no response here from Astrea. He does not see.
That's just GG.
Is it just over? The Robo just now gets thrown down. I think he recognizes the Forge as well, but it's over.
Yeah, GG. Amazing. TriGGeR takes the lead in this series. What is going on, Wyatt?
Mate, I told you, puppy. I told 3-2, puppy.
Aye.
Oh my god. The mind games upon mind games.
Yeah, Australia just being a little bit greedy with the opening there, and TriGGeR is able to keep himself safe at home, show all the signs of going into a similar kind of game that Australia was going into, and then have the DT sneak in on top of that. Just really cool cerebral play coming out there, and manages to put himself on 2 match points against Australia.
Oh my god. Yeah, crazy. It was a very committed move there by TriGGeR. Like, again, he was doing everything to deceive his opponent. I love that he was still researching Blink, for example. You know, he was getting that third base as well, so in case there was a hallucinated scout into his main, everything would look pretty normal, all things considered. So he was selling a story, he sold the story, and just like that, he takes a great cheeky win, and now he only needs 1 more to qualify for HomeStory Cup.
Yeah, and the map that we are spawning into is Curious Minds, another ramp map. TriGGeR has shown himself to be quite adept in these 1-gate openings and have a lot of branches that he can go to from them as well. So yeah, I'm kind of scared for Australia coming into this one.
I'm scared as well, mate. It's a PvP. Like, if you're saying you are scared, and mate, what the hell was? I guess the larger maps were vetoed because we're on Curious Minds.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want any pride, didn't want any glittering, just want to, I don't know, just get to bed, I guess. It's probably pretty late where TriGGeR is.
I guess so, but here is his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Curious Minds ESL. We have the American Protoss player himself representing Alpha X down in this series. 1 more loss, and he is out. He is done in this qualifier. It is Astrea.
And spawning up in the upper left, bringing out the tricky DT players to find himself on 2 match points to qualify. It is Team Super's TriGGeR.
Oh boy. All right. Here we go. For the first time today, we're on Curious Minds. We are so close here for a potential TriGGeR win. Once again, he hides that probe, by the way. Oh,
yeah,
this time to move out.
there, but a little bit different this time, going for the second gas, both of them. And yeah, he does manage to sneak that probe out, so maybe not even looking to take the Nexus at all this time.
Exactly.
Proxy Stargate, maybe?
This is a prime position for a proxy Stargate, puppy. Let's go. Let's see if he can sell the story. For the time being, you know, he's making a zealot. You know, it looks as if he wants to try and take that expansion. Everything is looking pretty normal. Even went for that probe scout as well to try and deny the expansion of Astrea.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the zealot. He's got the zealot coming. He's got all the probes that he would normally have. Pylons, sorry, that he would normally have.
Yeah.
And now he's really trying to sell the story that he's going to take this Nexus. And he does have a little bit of these minerals missing that he would normally have. So he's going to want to kill this probe as fast as he can before Astrea can start to, you know, cotton on to what's going on here. But yeah, the longer he can delay this probe from seeing that he's not taking the Nexus, the better for him.
Yeah.
And it is a Stargate.
It is a Stargate. The creation of this zealot, I wonder if that's a bit of a tell. I don't know. It's a little bit odd, but it was made again to try and make it seem as if TriGGeR really does want this base to get up and running, but there is no base. Oh, but the probe gets killed, I believe, before it was able to confirm.
Yeah, he zones out the probe before it can see that there is in fact no base, so Astrea totally in the dark. Everything is going in the way of TriGGeR here.
Oh my god, oh my god. Let's go. We do see the Stargate about to finish up. We're going to be seeing an Oracle coming out here for TriGGeR. At the same time, he can even move out with his gateway units. There we go. Stalkers are on the way as well to try and bust through. Astrea, he smells something wrong. He's checking.
Yeah, I think he knows. He's got a battery coming up in the main as well, so whatever he's seen that's given off descent to him, maybe missing a pylon that he would expect to see in the main when his probe was there. He has, yeah, definitely worked out that something is up, but he does miss the scout, unfortunately.
He does miss the scout. The Oracle is on the way, but with the shield battery, as you said, the Oracle can't deal too much damage. It can still get the stasis off, but doesn't matter because TriGGeR dives in and he's going to try and get the kill on this Stalker.
Yeah, so we'll trade off the units here, but at the same time, the hallucination scout for Astrea does get into the base of TriGGeR.
And he activates the pulsar beam. It doesn't do anything because of the shield battery. Astrea, he was well aware of this. Oh, we'll lose the sentry though, and oh my god, he loses the stalker as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, I think saving these probes is pretty good for him here. Yeah. He enjoys a huge economic lead here, and suddenly things are looking really good for Astrea in this game.
Yeah, and it may have been a mistake to activate the pulsar beam because now we have a second Oracle, but we can't one-shot those probes. They are pulled immediately. Oh my god, the siege trap is going to go up. Gets a decent amount of probes.
Yeah, a bit of indecision there. Doesn't quite get the surface area he needs to DPS down that trap there. So it is, I think, actually 6 probes there. That 7?
7, yeah. 7
Yeah,
probes?
So that's a pretty chunky stasis trap there. It's going to delay the Econ quite a bit.
Yeah, it's necessary here for TriGGeR, to be honest, for him to try and catch up. What was looking to be a good opener here from TriGGeR didn't really work out for him in the end. Astrea has held beautifully, and now, you know, he can try and be the aggressor. He's going to have a faster timing with Blink, but only has 2 gateways to work with, so instead, goes for a 3rd.
Yeah, nice, safe economic opening. Does manage to delay the robo quite a bit this game as well, which he won't be punished for this time. Just the blink coming out from TriGGeR, so something a little bit more standard as a continuation here, probably recognizing that he's the defender in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. I think something that's interesting though is that TriGGeR is maybe looking to be a little bit more aggressive because he actually gets a 3rd gateway in his main. He hasn't gone for his own 3rd. To be fair, he hasn't scouted the 3rd of Astrea, but he may be looking to deny it. Kill it even.
Yeah, if he can deny this 3rd, that definitely puts him in a better position. Seems like a good way to proceed with the game at this point, but honestly, Astrea getting the shield battery, getting all these stalkers, playing everything pretty safe. I think he's not in a bad position here at all, and he will just poke up into the natural, see what's going on.
Oh, yo, TriGGeR, he throws down 3 more gateways. He's going all in, puppy. He's going all in with the Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, throwing down the gateways. Astrea already getting the Immortal, so that's definitely going to be good for him if he continues to produce those. And that battery's in a really nice defensive position. If he
Yeah.
can sniff out what's going on here, get a couple more batteries, I think he's definitely not going to be in a bad position to hold.
Exactly. It's going to be all about the positioning. It's all about whether or not that Immortal is safe and sound. The double Oracle is going into the main base. We do have 2 Stalkers here to defend. And they do force these Oracles back. Do force a Warpman in the main. TriGGeR is still looking for an opportunity to dive on this army.
Yeah, I wonder if TriGGeR's just trying to sell at the moment. Just a bit of a smaller pressure here with these Stalkers.
Oh. Yo, the Immortal gets stasis.
Oh, that's huge, actually, having the Immortal stasis. So Astrea just going to have to pull these probes out of the way, and he's going to lose the power to this battery.
Yeah, he's going to lose everything here, mate. It's going to take a couple of seconds, though. The Immortal is about to come back. Astrea has Blink of his own. Bear that in mind. And with that, oh my god, he just dives on top of the Immortal again.
Yeah, checking out this Immortal. I do believe that TriGGeR's trying to sell, like, smaller gateway pressure at this point. So this bigger gateway pressure that's coming up behind this is going to be hitting very strong.
Yeah, God. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but when TriGGeR went across the map, he didn't know which third was taken. So unfortunately, his real reinforcement point isn't really being used. So he can't really reinforce as quickly as he would like to. He does end up getting the second Immortal as well, but again, he's relying on slow warp-ins here at that pylon.
Yeah, he takes out the second Immortal, and Astrea, just using the extra probes that he has to help defend this, will manage to clean this up. But at the same time, TriGGeR is taking a third behind this, and the probe count at the third of Astrea has been reset now.
Oh, it has been. Meanwhile, here we go. The slow warp in comes in, but it's not going to be enough. Astrea, he has the higher Stalker count here. He's going to be able to deal with this, and oh god, TriGGeR, he's trying to trade as best he can, but he will lose all these Stalkers.
Yeah, suddenly it's become a very dicey situation for TriGGeR, being the one that's aggressive, but at the same time gets a huge number of probes in the natural with this Oracle.
Yeah,
14 kills.
That's a lot of kills, mate. That's a lot of kills. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where it goes to show how far ahead Astrea was worker-wise, because he still has a worker lead, which is crazy. And he's going to be able to maintain it because TriGGeR still doesn't have his own third up and running. It is so unfortunate that TriGGeR, the reason why his pushes didn't seem so as aggressive as we would have thought is because he just was slow warping in. It was not ideal.
Yeah, this third only just finishing for TriGGeR now, and Astrea even having the army advantage when TriGGeR is the one doing an all-in. This is a pretty rough position.
It really is. I mean, at least finally the third gets up and running here for TriGGeR. He does have another force of Stalkers. Can't really go toe-to-toe with the army of Astrea, but maybe he can dip in, get like a probe or two and dip out. Ideally, that's what he wants. Gets one probe.
Yeah, just trying to see what's up, have a good idea of what the probe count is, maybe get a look at the army that Astrea is working with as well, but looks like Astrea might just be moving up to a 4th base at this point.
Yeah, he is poised to take that 4th base. He's taking up as well charge on the way, +1. He's looking to go into charge Lot Archon, which is a great way to deal with the mass kind of Stalker army. They do kind of flounder against these Zealots, especially with charge. TriGGeR trying to dive in and force a cancel, but unfortunately there was no 4th there.
Yeah, just cleaning up the extra pylon, and I believe Astrea will have a nice timing with these charge lots and these Archons to try to finish the game.
Oh yeah, very nice +1 timing here. I mean, TriGGeR is doing what he can. He does force the shield there on that Immortal, so maybe he can try and focus it down for that next fight. Oh god, we still need a couple seconds for that charge.
Yeah, these Zealots really awkward without the charge, but charge finishing up now, and I think TriGGeR needs to get out of here.
Yeah, he can't fight this. He can't fight this at all. He's going to try and stutter step as best he can, try to fight all the way back to that 3rd base. Meanwhile,